action-packed lineup on this Saturday afternoon. First of all, from the Columbus Square Bowling Palace, Columbus, Ohio, the $150,000 Budweiser Classic. Qualifying first, young Norm Duke goes for his second PBA title. Guppy Troop, he's been hot on the fall tour, but hasn't won since '78. Wayne Webb goes for his third tour title of the season. George Pappas, sixth on the all-time money-winning list. And Ron Bell going for his first tournament win. It would be worth $27,000. Then live from Lake Tahoe, it's the USBA Middleweight Championship. Alex Ramos against James Kinchin. And then the skins game with Player, Palmer, Nicholas, and Watson. A November to Remember continues on NBC.
NBC Sports presents the PBA Fall Tour with your hosts Jay Randolph and Earl Anthony. The PBA Fall Tour is sponsored by AMS Angleball, Winter Pro Tour's #1 winner 3 years in a row. By Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name in taste. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by AC Delco, the smart parts.
A big crowd is here on this big Saturday afternoon on NBC Sports. Welcome to the magnificent Columbus Square Bowling Palace here in the vibrant city of Columbus, Ohio. Glad to have you with us this afternoon. Jay Randolph with Hall of Famer Earl Anthony. We've got a very good fivesome to go at it here today, and the youngster from Texas, Norm Duke, right up on top.
And he's always been tough in Ohio, Jay. It should be an outstanding telecast. Let's get right to the first match and see what happens.
All right, here we go. It will be Ron Bell, young man from Akron, Ohio, going against the gentleman they call the General, George Pappas. Bell, who qualified fifth, a .214 tournament average this week. Bell starting on lane 51 and starting with a strike. 5'11", 210-pounder from Akron.
Going against a very experienced player here in George Pappas, one of the toughest match game players that's ever been on the tour. Should be an exciting match to start with.
Oh, it looked like a very, very good ball, but he opens with a real problem here, Earl.
The players have been trying to play an extreme outside angle all week long during the qualifying rounds and the match play portion of the event. Up to the telecast today, the lanes, after talking to the players, they told me the lanes are hooking a lot more today than they have the rest of the week, and they're having trouble keeping the ball on line.
Well, he cuts down the 4-7, leaves the 10, and Pappas is open in the first frame.
Now, you might see, for example, all the players during match play last night were playing near the channel, all right-handers. But today you might see some of them moving inside the track area, inside the second arrow, to play around the third arrow to keep the ball in play. We're going to see some adjustments on the lanes today, see just how good these pros can play and adjust to the changing lane conditions.
George comes back with a strike. Pappas ranks 6th in career earnings. He's won more than $666,000 in his 15-year career. And he'll be our host next week in Charlotte, North Carolina for the Tournament Players Championship there. Bell bangs him down. Earl, he's made so many key shots in the 10th frame time and time again this week. That was the key for him.
He's a very much a clutch player, Jay. He has an unusual delivery, brings the ball to the inside, almost side wheels it with tremendous strength and lift out over the foul line. The hardest thing for him to do, along with Wayne Webb today, is to keep the ball on line. The ball tends to hook early for him. He has to use a lot of speed and loft to keep the ball in play. And Bell opens with a turkey.
His second championship round appearance this year and his third overall.
The lanes they're bowling on today, lanes 51 and 2. Lane 51 tends to hook more. Generally, all the way down the lane, it grips earlier, hooks more on the back end. It's about a 2 or 3 board difference for the players. So they have to arc the ball more on 51, go a little straighter on 52.
And here's Pappas on 52. Leaves the 10 pin.
Bad break for George. That was an excellent shot. The ball entered the pins properly. He'll go cross lane for the 10 pin. George is one of the finer spare shooters on the tour. He shouldn't have any problem with this. Even though the lanes are hooking, you'll see that he'll go cross lane and flatten the shot out at the 10 pin. Watch the ball enter the pins at the perfect angle to strike. It's very unique that that 10 pin would stand at that point. Going cross lane at the 10.
Pappas is ranked among the top 25 winners over the last 14 years. He's down 31 pins. $27,000 the first prize, $14,000 for second. Fourth championship round appearance this year for George Pappas. And the 10 is standing again. Having his problems here.
As I mentioned earlier, the left lane hooks more than the right lane, and you can see the ball arcing farther down the going farther down the lane and breaking later, and that's the reason he left the 10 pin on that lane. On lane 51, the previous ball he left the 10 pin was a perfect shot, just a bad break.
A 32-pin lead for Bell over Pappas. Back with more from Kalik here in Columbus. The last PBA tournament here in '64, and one of the greats, Billy Golombieski, finished first. He won $3,000. The victory today worth $27,000. The alternate from down in Tulsa, Oklahoma today, qualified sixth, Mike Edwards.
Another one of the fine young players on the tour. Really a good athlete. He's going to go well. He's going to really do well in this game. He works very hard. He practices well.
Bell with a 32-pin lead. Bell at 279 was his high game this week, and he averaged 190 on the TV pair, 51 and 52. A four-bagger for Bell.
It's putting a lot of pressure on the veteran, George Pappas. George is never out of the match. That's one thing about George Pappas. He's one of the finest match game players, as I mentioned earlier. Ron Bell knows that. He's got to keep it going.
A reminder, the True Value will present a $50,000 bonus to any player who rolls a 300 game on our television coverage of the PBA Tour. It's happened only 4 times, and Bell going for 5 in a row. Left the 10.
Not that bad a shot, really, Jay. The ball, he threw it well. He thought he had a chance to strike. I did too. He tripped the 4 well off the wall. You can see the arm swing slightly behind the back. That's his style. He gets the ball well out over the foul line. The ball goes down the lane. It breaks a little sooner than he thought, than he wanted, really. He got the good break on the 4-7, left the 10, cross lane.
That's our overhead camera.
With his release, it's a little tougher spare. Almost missed it.
You know, in your 7 steps to better bowling later this afternoon, you're going to be talking about making spares.
Well, if anybody can show you how to make spares, it's the professionals on the tour. It's always important to get strikes, but you've got to fill the frames in between. The spares are what make the score add up. That's trouble.
Oh, and Pappas is having a tough go of it here.
Again, the right-hand lane is the tighter of the 2 lanes. In other words, it's faster or slicker. George trying to go more direct with the ball. Didn't like the release. He got it down a little early. Here's George positioning himself for the shot. He likes to keep that elbow very tight. That's important to keep the elbow up against your hip for a good straight arm swing. And George has one of the best arm swings on the tour. He'll go across lane, pick up the 310, fit the ball between the pins, just like that.
A 43-pin lead at the moment for Bell.
almost to the halfway point in the match. It's 5th frame at this point. Still a lot of room left for George Pappas, and everybody, especially under pressure. And Ron knows he's got to keep it going when he gets up there.
All right. Pappas strikes in the 6th.
George continuing to make adjustments with his release, rotation on the ball. In other words, how he releases with his wrist, continually trying to get the ball to enter the pin so he can strike at the right angle. Ron Bell, a little bit of the power player, more the line of a Mark Roth, a Wayne Webb. He likes to get the ball well down the lane with lots of speed and loft.
Oh, it won't go. Boy, he got a tough break there.
Tough break, but an easy spare, and that's the key at this point. He's got a 43-pin lead. What he wants to do at this point is just keep the ball in play. Don't give it back to George. Make George earn it. Ball breaks very sharply. Lots of rotation on the ball. It gets a good kick off the wall.
That 7 did everything but go down.
He was running it out, Jay. He thought he had it. So did we.
They replaced the pin because it fell after the rack came down. Picks it up. A 42-pin lead for Ron Bell, who is 30 years of age. Wayne Webb will take on the winner of this match. Webb, who still has an opportunity for Player of the Year. If he would win here, certainly, he would be very much in the running.
Definitely in the running. He's had 2 wins this year. George Pappas almost in the same situation with 2 wins. Either player would be in the running with a win here today.
Bell strikes in the 7th. And he has really put the pressure on Pappas. More PBA Tour action from Columbus in a moment. Who have done a remarkable job here this week. This event being held here at the Columbus Square Bowling Palace. Marvelous facility. First time. And thanks to all the Hadler family for a great week here. Joe Atenora, the commissioner of the PBA Tour, sitting alongside Mr. Hadler, George Hadler, and of course his dad and the whole family here. They've really done a great job. Pappas getting set in the 7th. He's had tough go.
And the reaction of George Pappas. He knew he threw the ball extremely well. Ball entered the pins at the proper angle to strike. Look at the eyes as he concentrates on his target. Extends down the lane with the ball with the release. Knows it's a good shot. And a crucial time. A bad break for George. He needed to strike. He knew he wanted it badly.
And again, we'll remind you the $150,000 Angle Touring Players Championship will be held at George Pappas's Park Lanes down in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's next Saturday. We'll be on the air at 1 Eastern Time. It's the final stop for all our crew on NBC's Fall Tour. And we look forward to that one. Hope you'll join us, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And Pappas pops them down in the 8th.
Being late in the match, Ron Bell now with the opportunity to really put this match away with the strikes in the 8th and 9th. It would be disaster for George and great for Ron. He'd go on to bowl Wayne Webb. 2 power players, Lockhorns then, Jay. The 3rd match, Wayne Webb is definitely a power player. Ron Bell can play a lot of different shots. He's best when he can really, like Mark Ross says, rip the cover off the ball. Trouble.
Well, he got away with it. A little high, but enough action to take him down. Some of this big crowd here. It's been, as I said, an exciting week. 52-pin lead for Bell. He is in the driver's seat. set. He just hasn't had any breaks in this match, and Bell, on the other hand, has made it happen. Indeed he has.
Indeed he has. And there are breaks in the game of bowling like there are any other sport, but when you're rolling the ball as well as Ron Bell is, you make your own breaks.
There's the prize money as it stacks up this afternoon, and Bell has a possible 268. And Pappas just has had a very rugged time of it. He really has.
We have a winner in this match, Jay, with Ron Bell. No matter what he does, he can fall down and still win this one. He's been bowling exceptionally well.
Bell officially winning this first match as Pappas picks up the spare. So it will be Ron Bell to move on and go against Wayne Webb in our second match of the afternoon. That'll be coming up in just a few moments. Palace, the $150,000 Budweiser Classic. And Bell looked very, very sharp in winning this first match.
He looks very strong, Jay. That's the young Lions on the tour today. The talent is unbelievable. Wayne Webb has his hands full in the next match, no doubt about it.
So it will be Webb against Bell coming up. Happy to have you with us this afternoon. The PBA Tour coverage right here on NBC. Sports World is coming up. We're going to bring you more exciting boxing action from out in Lake Tahoe. The new Bronx bomber, Alex Ramos. The USBA middleweight title on the line. He'll face undefeated James the Heat Kinchin. And, of course, then it's the skins game. Look at those names. Palmer, Nicholas, Player, and Watson. Great heroes of the game of golf. And, of course, they'll be playing the first 6 holes for $10,000 a pop. The next 6 holes were $20,000. And, of course, as you know, Earl, in the skins game, you can have carryovers. It's the low score among the 4 that wins. And got about $360,000 available over the 18 holes. And the carryover action in the little skins game is always a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, you ought to know, Jay. You've got enough money out of my pocket playing
Oh, no, that's not so. Bell with a 246, Pappas a 194, and Bell moving along to face Wayne Webb. Bell hit the pocket 9 of 11 times, 81.8%. Strikes in the pocket, 6 out of 9. He was 4 out of 5 on lane 51, 3 out of 6 on lane 52. Well, that looked good, but
it was an exceptionally good shot. He bowled extremely well in the first match. He's got another really tough player in Wayne Webb this match. Now watch the ball break very sharply. Comes in, leaves the 4-pin. Didn't get that trip off the wall that he got twice in the first game against George Pappas. Now both these players are considered power players, and we're bowling on 3-pound, 7-ounce pins, which is really an advantage for the strong player because he gets better pin carry.
So a spare for Bell later today on the 7 Steps to Better Bowling. Making spares with Earl Anthony. So you'll enjoy that. This our 6th week of PBA Tour coverage. Here's Wayne Webb. Webb has a rather unusual delivery, Earl.
He likes to hold the ball low when he starts, clear down near his knee, straight down from his side. He starts it with a very short motion forward, a lot of strength and power. See how he gets over his knee and really whips the ball through. That's where he gets all that strong rotation. He plants his foot before he brings the ball through. Creates leverage and strength in the shot. Tough spare here. Excellent coverage.
Tempo seems to be the key to his game with that arm swing.
Exactly. Wayne Webb does something else that's unique. If you watch his eyes when he goes to the foul line, he looks at the floor near the foul line for his target, looks down the lane to imagine in his mind where the ball will go after release. So he has in his mind's eye exactly what the ball will do from the time it leaves his hand to goes over his target and breaks toward the pocket. See his eyes moving?
And a strike for Webb in the second.
Tremendous power in that ball because it rolled right over the 8-pin. No deflection at all in that ball for Wayne Webb. Wayne Webb, as I mentioned earlier, has moved inside. In other words, he's inside the track area, whereas all week long he was playing outside the second arrow. Now he's in around the third arrow because the lanes are hooking a little more today than they did throughout the week.
That looked very good, but again.
Now again, Ron Bell is playing in the track area. He's playing right around the 12 board, which the track area is that part of the lane that gets worn from ball after ball rolling over that area of the lane, so it tends to hook more. And he's trying to keep the ball in that track area. The problem is it will break down quicker or start to go, the oil will leave that area sooner than the rest of the lane. He's going to have to make some very crucial adjustments very quickly or he could get in trouble.
Bell gets the 4-pin. He is down 1 here in the early going in the second match. He's had a problem Bell has with some cramping in his left leg this week. There's our commissioner of the PBA Tour from Akron, Ohio, which of course is Bell's hometown, Joe Antonora.
He's our leader.
And he and the staff have been so helpful to us this year. Great working with him. And Bell leaves the 4-7. Like he lost it just a little bit, Earl.
Well, the approaches, the center all week long has had the tendency for the approaches to be a little sticky, and the players have been trying to adjust to that. And as you can see, he actually slipped on this shot, lost his balance, because he's thinking, I'm going to stick, which they've done all week. And when you don't stick, and something like that happens, you actually slip. It's a shock.
His best finish ever was 4th in Buffalo this year. And he's got an opportunity, of course, to win it all here in Columbus this afternoon. $27,000 first prize. Webb up by 3. Gotta hurry. All right, he gets them there.
That's what that power, that extreme right to left rolling action of the ball. It's not turn, it's actually lift and roll. Makes the ball break so sharply on the back and creates that pin action where the pins fly off the sidewall, come back, and just fight each other to fall down.
Webb's 5th championship round appearance this year. He won the opening event of '84, capturing the Rolaids Open out in Anaheim. The 10-pin is standing.
Again, all these players are excellent spare shooters. The only way they would miss a spare J is lack of concentration. Now we see Wayne Webb coming to the foul line. See the tremendous lift as the ball, and you see the rotation of the ball as it goes into the pins. Not quite as powerful as Wayne's normal shot. He would have kicked the 10 out normally with that shot.
So the spare in the 4th for Webb. A 12-pin leap. Their hospitality's been super this week, along with Joe Antonora there. And, of course, the great folks with Budweiser have really put on a remarkable tournament first time around, Earl.
I think so. I think they're going to be an outstanding sponsor for many years to come, Jay. They're really into the game. They enjoy it very much, and it looks like it's going to be a very successful event for them.
Bell bowling in the 4th. Boy, he's had a couple of real toughies with that 7-pin today.
He has. You know, he's thrown some balls that were a little high in the pocket that have kicked out the 4-7, left the 10 once on that shot, but basically he's carried well on the high hit. He's had some tough luck with the 7-pin. This one, he gets down the lane. He's made the adjustment. Now, remember, his first 3 shots all left 4-pin, 4-pin, 4-7. This one, he extends farther down the lane, comes in slightly behind the head pin. The 5-pin goes to the wall, turns it around, doesn't knock out the 7. Remember, we're bowling on 3-pound, 7-ounce pins, so you've got to hit them well to knock them down.
This gentleman once held the world record for the highest 4-game total, 1,127. There is colorful Guppy Troop, who qualified second. Wow, look at that outfit he's got on today. guppy troop.
See, he has to wear sunglasses. His clothes are so bright, Jay.
Look, he's sporting a mustache he's trying to grow there.
Uh-huh. He'll probably color that one, too. There it is.
A strike for Bell in the 5th.
All right, he's making the adjustments we talked about earlier. He's increased his speed and loft. He doesn't want to get in too far and start circling. The reason he doesn't want to circle the ball too much or send it out wide is it won't hook back if you get too wide of the track. See the ball drive in, the same hit as last time, a little more power.
That overhead camera provides a great view for us. Wayne Webb from Indianapolis, Indiana. Webb has earned more than $500,000 in his career. 276 his high game here this week, and he averaged 218.5 on the TV pair.
Wayne Webb is considered by many of the pros the best player on the tour physically at this point. All he's lacked over the last few years is consistency. He's got a great game. He's got a great mental outlook to the game, especially under pressure in match play conditions. He's tough to beat.
The 10-pin is there. Wayne was the 1980 Sporting News PBA Player of the Year.
Again, the left-hand lane, lane 51, is hooking more than the right-hand lane. Wayne is sending it nearer the channel, bringing it back from way outside, and that's when he'll leave the 10-pin. He's going to have to change his release, try to get the ball to roll more end over end so that it doesn't break so late, and he can do that. He's very capable of it.
Webb in the lead by 13, with Bell getting set to go in the 6th frame. Coming up later this afternoon on Sports World, don't forget, we have that USBA Middleweight Championship live from Lake Tahoe. And then action aplenty, the skins game.
Again, the 4-pin. Again, he's trying to keep the ball from breaking early. A lot of extension at the foul line. Extends way down the lane. He still has to make that little adjustment someplace to keep the ball from breaking too sharply.
Talking about the conditions here, how about the conditions at Desert Highlands out there in Arizona? That's some golf course.
I'd go through 12 golf balls in the first 9 holes there, Jay.
I'll tell you, Jack Nicklaus designed that, and it's not for the faint of heart.
Again, a cross lane, easy spare on the 4-pin for Ron Bell.
The Player of the Year race continues. Mark Roth, of course, 3 wins, going over the million mark. Mike Galby has just had a tremendous fall tour, and of course Marshall Holman is very much in the running, along with Pappas, Pete Weber, and Wayne Webb, who you're watching go against Bell right now. A strike in the 7th for Bell. He's hanging in. So, classic injustice area. We'll know that gentleman from Belleville, Illinois. An Anheuser-Busch executive now, Tom Stock. Olympic weightlifting champion, world-class champion in weightlifting. He's lost about 140 pounds. And he just looks great, and an old dear friend of mine. Great to see him here this week.
From the big and mighty to the small and mighty in Wayne Webb.
And Webb strikes in the 7th. This one looks like it's going to go right to the wire.
Wayne's had a tremendous career starting in 1980. He started well before that, but since 1980, he has done won more tournaments, won more money than any other player on the tour. And his goal is to be declared bowler of the 80s. I like his chances.
Yes, indeed.
Tremendous talent. Trouble. Got a good break, Jay. Cut right through the center of the head pin. He didn't like it when he released it. Remember, the left lane is hooking more. Wayne just lost his concentration a little bit. Wasn't happy with the shot. Watch him at the foul line. Just as he releases the ball, he knows he's made a bad shot. He doesn't like it. You can see by the look on his face. He didn't like the shot. It breaks early through the middle of the head pin. Could have been the big split. Ends up only with An easy spare. He'll go cross lane. Make sure he covers both pins with the ball.
And
trouble.
He cuts down the 3-6.
He didn't like that one either, Jay.
Well, he got him down, but again, I want to remind our viewers that making spares is the topic of your 7 Steps to Better Bowling a little later on today, and it's the key to making spares, Earl.
Key to making spares is a lot of people try to throw their strike ball at their spares. The key to making spares is not to try to hook the ball. Just roll it at. All you got to do is hit it, right? If you hit the spare, they'll fall down. You don't have to roll the ball extremely well with a big hook. Just knock them down.
And you're going to show us how a little later on.
Big shot for Ron right here.
The 7 is still standing.
He's been very unlucky this game, Jay. He's thrown a lot of balls that could have been strikes. Left the 4-pin on 3 occasions, the 4-7 on an occasion, the 7-pin twice. Could have very easily had the strike here. The tremendous power roll as the ball goes into the pins. Great balance, good extension through the shot. Ball enters the pocket, light in the pocket. Watch the hip and go to the wall, come back. Doesn't get the 7. Unusual for one of these players to hit light and not strike.
Bell is currently 63rd on this year's PBA points list. The top 50 are exempt from next year's Rabbit Squad, and a win today would make him eligible for next year's Firestone and exempt from the PDQs. That's the Rabbit Squad. Everybody'd like to get out of that situation.
Boy, I'll tell you on Monday, Jay, on Monday those guys come in here, about 300 of them. They bowl 10 games of qualifying, and the top normally 70 or 80 players join the exempt players to make up the field of 160 that starts on Wednesday. And nobody wants to bowl on Monday. They all want to bowl Wednesday through Saturday. It's just a tough way to live. If you don't make that cut on Monday, you're done till next Monday.
A strike in the 9th for Bell. They've been rolling along here.
Still anybody's match.
Yes, indeed. Bell has a possible 216. Our championship match, as always, will be uninterrupted coverage for you today.
Wayne Webb here with the opportunity to put the match away. Strike here, and the first one in the 10th.
A very, very big strike for Webb.
He's got the foundation. He's got the strike in the 9th. He has a possibility of 229, but this strike and a count of 8 or better and a spare would be a win for Wayne Webb. Must have the strike to lock out Ron Bell.
Webb's not a very big gentleman, but boy, he's got strong arms.
He's built very compactly. He's very strong physically. Tremendous concentration, and it was interrupted by something off to the side. And again, as you've seen in the past, the players will put the ball down, take their time, get set again. Experience. Very important. A lot of times, as I mentioned before, some of the rookies will get up there and go ahead with a shot and then wonder why. After they've made a bad shot, it may cost them a lot of money. Wayne will start over, set everything set just the way he wants it before he makes this crucial shot. Likes it.
And he got it in gear, didn't he?
Tremendous power, Webb. Tremendous power. As the ball rotated into the pins, blew him apart. Now, that was the strike he needed, but it's still not out of the wood for Ron Bell. He must get at least 9 on this ball or 8 and a spare. See the ball break sharply in. It's all roll. Hits the 5, goes straight out sideways. But this is the shot right here for Wayne Webb and Ron Bell. There's your winner.
And Wayne Webb will move ahead. So Webb, mighty pleased as he looks up at the big scoreboard up top. Webb defeating Ron Bell, and Webb will be going against Guppy Troop in our 3rd match of the afternoon. That's coming up in just a few moments. Wayne Webb has whipped Ron Bell 218 to 205. Bell picks up $6,500, and Webb will move into play Guppy Troop in our 3rd match of the afternoon. Well, you know, one of our features here on the coverage of the PBA Tour is Earl's Corner, and that's coming up. You got to look at this big crowd here. While I get a moment, I want to send along our best to Jim Trombetta, Glenn Adamo's uncle. Wish him the best in getting well very quickly. Larry Lickstein. Here is a man who does a little bit of everything. A man behind the scenes, a man who is very, very well liked. Earl talked things over with him.
Well, I started the tour in June of 1969, and that was my first year out. I was fortunate enough to be the PBA Rookie of the Year. But by 1974, things weren't going too good, and I decided to take the job as Player Service Director. At that same period of time, the game of bowling had an environmental change. More and more equipment started to come out. Before we knew it, we needed an 18-wheeler, approximately 1,500 new balls, all to each tournament. The tour got bigger. We found that the players all had to come out to the truck at one time or another for services. It became the nerve center of the tour. The game of bowling is like golf. The golfer will carry 13 clubs. Some of the pro bowlers on the tour have 50 bowling balls in their vans and motorhomes. They're constantly adjusting their equipment. It's a never-ending battle, the bowler against the lane. It's a different day, a different game, a different lane. Things are constantly changing. The environment is always changing, literally hour to hour. So the bowlers have to adjust their equipment. On a normal week, we'll drill anywhere between 200 and 300 bowling balls a week. I can recall back in 1980, Earl Anthony bowling the U.S. Open in Windsor Locks, drilled a new ball every 8 games. We had 7 8-game blocks in that tournament. He drilled 7 new balls. So our game is quite different than it was 20 years ago in the one-ball era. In addition to my responsibilities as far as the pro shop is concerned, I'm the Player Service Director for the Pro Bowlers Tour. I'm in charge of setting up the locker room, setting up the tournament director's office, the press room, hauling the equipment, erecting the scoreboards, hanging the banners, guarding the locker room. We have roughly $250,000 worth of bowling balls on the floor of the locker room every week, so somebody has to be in here to guard it as best possible. I'm like a psychiatrist. The rookies will come to me. They'll ask advice on what weight they should use, or if they want to change their grip, what would I advise for them? A lot of players have a bad hand, or they'll have tendonitis, and they'll ask what the cure might be. So I'm like a coach and advisor, behind-the-scenes man. We'll do their dry cleaning for them if they'd like. We haul about 1,000 shirts a week for the players. In the summertime, we carry a lot of golf clubs, too. We carry 200 pairs of shoes. Like I said, a rolling inventory of 1,500 new bowling balls, grips, towels, accessories, bowling bags, just everything it takes to make the tour run.
Well, there he is, Larry Lickstein, Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Everything out here. Earl,
he definitely is. The players couldn't survive without him, Jay. He does everything for him. He almost babysits them. He's always there when you need him. He's exceptionally liked by the players. I love him. He's a great guy, just a super guy.
Well, what a matchup here now. Wayne Webb going now against Guppy Troop. I mentioned that Guppy has not won since '78 here in the United States, but he did win in Canada in 1983.
Oh, a little luck there.
A little good luck smooch there from his girlfriend, Holly, and he's ready to go. Guppy from Neptune Beach, Florida.
Guppy has an unusual style, as you've seen on the Fall Tour in some of our earlier telecasts. He's very fast with his feet, off balance at the foul line, but he makes it work, just like that.
Yes, sir. Guppy starting with a strike. He is decked out today. He is the neon tetra of the PBA Tour.
His clothes are so bright he has to wear sunglasses, Jay.
Webb a winner, 218 to 205 over Bell. And there's the 10 for Webb. Webb hit the pocket 9 of 11 times in his victory over Bell for an 81.8%. Strikes in the pocket 6 out of 9 as we get a slow motion look at this one.
Now you see he's coming up the side of the ball to get the ball to rotate sideways. He's going to be making some adjustments. I've watched Wayne Webb for so many years. His talent is incredible. He'll start making adjustments to change the roll. And when he does that, he'll start striking because he's breaking the ball too late. It's too far down the lane to carry the 10-pin. He's capable of almost any shot, any angle on the lane. His talent is almost unbelievable.
There are his scores this week, of course. He's frankly enjoyed the
right lane better. He was 4 out of 5 in the strike department on lane 52, only 2 out of 6 on lane 51. Here he is on 51.
And he's made an adjustment there, obviously.
Wayne Webb has won twice this year, and both times that he won, he qualified third for the telecast, in which he did today. So it's been a lucky spot for him. This could be the third time this year. He's won from third.
Guppy Troop with a high game of 279. Monticelli had the 299.
And little Monticelli from Venezuela. It's trouble. Good break for Guppy.
Guppy averaged 226 on the TV pair. That was far better than any of the 5 finalists today.
Right. And look how quick he is. See how fast his feet are. And he's up on his toes, off balance. But he's always like that. So he adjusts for it somehow. I don't know how he can do it and be so consistent. But he's one of the more accurate players on the tour. And he loves to play the outside angle near the channel. So Guppy's in his element when he's playing near the channel. He can adjust quite well from there. He can get the ball way down the lane and keep it on line better than most of the players.
Guppy now in his 9th year on the tour. He has won better than $318,000 in his career. At the moment, he ranks 20th on the money list this year with better than $54,000, 6 PBA titles to his credit.
He also holds the record for 300 games, 6th in one season on the tour.
1979.
Wait a minute. There it comes.
There we got it.
You'll see some reactions out of this young man. He'll be bouncing around out there.
He loved it.
That's what the players call sending out a scout right there. The pin comes all the way across the pin deck. He likes it. He sees it rolling. Nudges the 10 down. There it is. Wayne has yet to make that adjustment that I talked about earlier. He will, or he's going to lose this match because Guppy's not going to show him any easy way out here. I'll guarantee you that.
Last night in the position round, Wayne, by his own admission, said he fell apart a little bit. He did not bowl very well, but of course you have mentioned his ability as a veteran to adjust.
And I'm surprised he hasn't made that adjustment because I've watched him do it so many more times in the past, even though it's a very difficult release for someone that likes to, as Mark, again, as I mentioned earlier, Mark Ross says, rip the cover off the ball, and Wayne can do that with the best of them. He likes to hook the ball, but here, to strike, he must go straighter, and the adjustment for him to make is to keep his thumb out in front of the ball longer and go up the back of the ball and get an end-over-end roll. And if he does that with his speed and loft, he can throw a lot of strikes. He doesn't like to do it, but I think he knows he has to do that, and pretty quick. He'll make that shot.
Guppy's psyching himself up. Webb has gotten a re-rack on 51.
Big break.
And that one, I know he's got to be happy with. He wasn't happy with the ball, but happy with the results.
Back with from down in Texas, just 20 years old, qualified first here this week. The intense, talented Norm Duke.
He's exciting to watch, Jay. When he gets out there, we'll really see some emotions.
The winner of this match will go against Duke for $27,000, the first prize here in the Budweiser Bowling Classic. You see Guppy's shoes. He's got little Guppies painted on them.
Good shot by Guppy. He liked it when he let it go, and I thought it was excellent. So did he. Just a little bit of a bad break. Didn't get the kick off the wall to trip the 4-pin. He knows he needs to get some strikes going. Wayne Webb is the type of player that once he gets it going, he can throw strikes all day long.
This is his 4th championship round appearance this year, the 3rd in his last 4 tournaments. close-up of, well, let's see, he wore those pants a few weeks ago, and the checkered pants were in the true value, if I remember.
When I was a kid, I had a quilt on my bed that looks like those pants, Jay.
He is resplendent.
Yes, he is. But he's talented.
Oh.
Definitely talented.
All right. A strike for Troop in the 5th.
And they're even Steven at the moment. Webb getting set in the 5th.
Still struggling on lane 52 is Wayne Webb. Still trying to find a way to get that corner pin out. See if he's going to make an adjustment. He has time during the commercial break. He had time to sit there and think a little bit. I'm sure he's trying to think of a way that he can get the ball into the pocket on lane 52 and carry the 10 pin. Let's see if he's made an adjustment.
Kind of got a Dutch 200 game situation here, alternating the strikes and spares.
More turn on the ball. And it worked.
Well,
Shows you what I know, Jay. See, I said he had to go straighter, and he hooked it more and still struck, see?
Well, you're not quite
That's
as
why I don't
close
bowl anymore, see?
to the action as they are. A double now for Webb.
I never knew what I was talking about. I was always lucky. Watch this shot. Tremendous power, and lefty went around the side of the ball. A lot of side turns. See the rotation on the ball as it breaks sharply into the pins, kicks the 10 out. That's what he's looking for.
Webb now in the lead. We're in the 6th. Will it be Webb or Troop to go against Norm Duke?
Wayne doesn't like the pin spotting on this lane at this particular rack. He was looking for a re-rack. It was turned down. Let's see if it's a bad break for him or if he can strike anyway. There's the 10. He didn't like the way the pins were spotted.
They're going to show you an overhead look of that one, Earl. He didn't like the situation, as you mentioned. This is an exclusive of our PBA
No
coverage.
frustration there, Jay. The ball breaks very sharply. Leaves the 10. As you can see, the ball was rotating very hard, but it acted like it hit weak. And part of that could have been the pin spotting. Guppy Troop asking for a re-rack and got it. Now, the reason Wayne Webb did not get the re-rack he wanted, he waited too long. You're only allowed to look at the rack, turn to the tournament director, and say, I need a re-rack. If he waits, messes around with the ball return, dries his hands, wipes his ball off, and then looks, it's too late. You must do it immediately, or they consider it gamesmanship. They don't want you to distract the other player. They want you to get out there and play.
They've only had one double with one ball out of the pocket between these two in this match.
Another distraction. Guppy, an emotional player. He wants to be sure he's ready. Doesn't want any mistakes out there. Something's bothering him.
I think one of our headsets, you saw Bud Fisher grabbing it down there. Apparently some audio coming out of it. They'll turn that down for him. Chuck Pisano, seated right there, our coordinator. Now Guppy is ready.
Guppy is some kind of fired up at this point in the proceedings.
So it is Troop with a one-pin advantage.
Big shot for Guppy here. One pin edge, but he's on a double. He can extend it to 11.
Sports World's coming up, and then the Skins game. Quite an afternoon here on NBC Sports. And quite a match going here.
Ah, yes. Troop puts himself in the driver's seat now. An 11-pin lead.
Only 5-5, but he stands very tall in the statistics over the years on the Professional Bowlers Tour.
Watch how he starts the ball. Tremendous leverage he creates at the foul line with very powerful legs.
Well, that was some hit there.
Just blew him right off the pin deck. Guppy Troop, deep in thought. Guppy might be the best player on the tour outside the 5-board. He can get the ball to go long and straight. As I mentioned earlier, all the players have tried to play outside in that area near the channel. Wayne Webb has made the adjustment to the inside because the lanes are hooking much more today than they have all week.
So a double now in the 7th and 8th for Webb. Troop going for a 4-bagger here in the 8th.
Neither player backing down. Both players very intense, very much competitors in the true sense of the word. Opportunity for Guppy to extend his lead to 11, and he knows if he makes a mistake, Wayne Webb won't let him get away with it.
Webb has 3 re-racks, and Guppy has just had his 2nd.
These two are providing some very, very fine action here.
And no matter who wins, when they bowl Norm Duke for the championship, whichever player this might be in this match that wins, it's going to be just as exciting, because Norm Duke is just like these two. Tremendous player, very good coordination, great athlete, and very, very excitable.
Our championship match will come to you as usual, uninterrupted. From start to finish, you'll see it all.
Big shot for Guppy. He needs a strike in the 9th, just in case. Now he's playing very near the channel. Playing right around what they call the 7-board area between the 1st and 2nd arrow. Ball go out through that area, hook it back.
5 in a row for Troop. A lead of 21 now for Guppy.
And now it's up to Webb.
It's up to Webb. Didn't like it, but he got it. What power. Tremendous power.
Well, that came from nowhere, didn't it?
Oh. It's fun to watch what they can do with a bowling ball. Wayne Webb with the possibility of 249, and he's going to finish first on the left-hand lane. If he can go out for 249, he can make Guppy Troop get a couple of strikes in the 10th frame to win.
Troop has a possible 260.
Possible 260.
Now the tournament director, Harry Golden, there with Webb, discussing the re-rack situation.
Remember, the players are only allowed 3. They have to get permission from the tournament director to get any more. And if Mr. Golden thinks the pins are off spot, he'll give it to him. If he doesn't, he says play. And they will play. Big shot. Key shot for Wayne Webb of the match right here. He must have this one. Tremendous concentration. It's hard to do it better than that, Jay. I don't see how it could be done better.
Guppy has not looked. He knows what's happened, but...
Yes, he can tell by the crowd reaction, the sound of those pins, the tremendous crash as that 16-pound ball just chopped him in half.
Now, here comes Harry Golden, taking another look. What a job this man does. He doesn't really get the credit he deserves.
He's going to make him shoot it, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Again, remember last time when he asked for the re-rack, didn't get it, he left the 10-pin. That could be the turning point right here. If he psychologically doesn't feel comfortable with the pins, it can make a difference in how he releases the ball. Let's see if he can overcome that.
Didn't seem to make a difference that time.
When you throw it like that, nothing could stand up. That ball would have knocked down telephone poles.
5 in a row now for Webb. 5 in a row for Guppy. These two have given us some tremendous excitement here, and it's far from over.
And remember, Wayne Webb has won twice from third already this year, and he qualified third today. He gets stronger as he goes.
What a finish by Webb. A 249.
We could have a tie, Jay.
Sure could.
If Guppy Troop strikes on the first ball in the 10th, gets a spare 9, we'd have a tie. If he gets 2 strikes, he's a winner. 2 strikes and stay behind the foul line. But he has to have the first one or it's all over.
Well, Webb has done all he can do. He went
getting
all the
nervous
way.
again. Must have this strike.
Guppy goes and gets him.
And he jumped, I think, about 8 feet straight sideways, Jay.
Oh.
He's checking the score with the official scorer, Mr. Golden. Wayne Webb's wondering what do you have to do to win out here?
Webb with a 249. Troop now with a 1-pin lead.
He must strike to win. 9 and a spare, and it's a tie. 8, and he loses. If he gets less than 9 pins on this ball, he loses. If he gets 9 and a spare, we tie, and we go into a 9th and 10th frame roll-off. If he strikes, he's a winner.
Guppy
Troop
just
has
got his
destiny in his own hands, Jay.
Troop just got his 3rd re-rack. Look at that scoreboard. 2 strong finishes here.
We have a winner, Jay, and what a way to win. What a tremendous finish by both players.
Well, the championship match will have Troop going against Norm Duke. There's Troop, there is Duke, and now we check making spares with Earl Anthony.
Pizza Hut presents 7 Steps to Better Bowling with Earl Anthony.
Last week on our 7 Steps to Better Bowling, we discussed how to adjust to the head area of the lane again by using speed, lift, and loft. Now, we've got you to the point where we feel that you can throw some strikes. But you're not always going to strike. Nobody does. So now we have to learn how to make spares, and there are 3 basic spare angles to use. One for the left side of the lane, one for the right side of the lane, and one for the center of the lane, which is normally your strike ball position. We're going to show you how to make those. When shooting at spares in the left side of the lane, always use as much of the lane as possible and stand to the far right side of the approach. Walk directly at the pins and follow through to your target. When shooting at spares in the right-hand corner, stand to the far left side of the approach, use as much of the lane as possible, walk directly toward your target, and follow through to your target. Pins left in the center of the lane, normally you make with your strike ball, and this is how we go about doing that. Remember, if your spares are on the left side of the lane, stand to the right. If your spares are on the right-hand side of the lane, stand to the left. Use as much of the lane as you possibly can to shoot your spares. If they're in the center of the lane, throw your strike ball. Next week, we'll show you how to use the fundamentals we taught you to this point to throw more strikes. Plus, we'll have a recap of the 7 steps to better bowling.
In match 1, it was Bell over Pappas, 246 to 194. And then Wayne Webb, 218 to 205 over Bell. And certainly in one of the most exciting matches we've had this fall tour, Troop 260 to 249. Webb goes over the $95,000 mark on the year. And Guppy Troop now slated to go against the man at the top of the list, Norm Duke. Here are our top finishers this week, Earl.
A couple old veterans down there, and especially in Bill Spigner, one of the fine players over a number of years on the tour. And old Tom Baker, my buddy, Rich Peruba is a friend of mine from Pleasanton, right down the street, Jay.
And the man from Texas, Gary Dickinson, Walter Williams from California, Bill Regner, and there's Steve
Soupy,
Wonderlick
Hall of
again.
Famer, Dave Sutar.
It's good to see him here.
PBA national champion, Bob Chamberlain. Steve Fair, nice to see him back bowling well again with that injury he's had in his wrist. Steve Licklider, another old friend of mine. I got a couple of friends out here, Jay.
Yeah. Pete Weber doing very well. Picked up
usual.
4,000. Pete McCordick, 3,600. And you saw Mike Edwards from Tulsa, Oklahoma, our alternate a little bit earlier. Well, in the championship match for $27,000, there is 20-year-old Norm Duke. Qualified first with a 218.1 tournament average.
Norm has played almost the same shot all week long that Guppy Troop is playing, out near the channel, near that first arrow or the fifth board. He's moved in a little, Jay. He's made a move. I didn't expect that. I watched him practice earlier. He was farther out on the surface near the channel. He's moved in near the second arrow. He's playing in the ball track area. He's going to have a lot of speed control to stay in that area and keep the ball in play.
He averaged only 195 on the TV pair. Troop, as I mentioned, 226 on the TV pair.
And boy, he raised that average last game, didn't he, with that 260? Whoops.
And a spare to start things off for Norm Duke. Coming up next, the USBA middleweight bout between Ramos and Kitchen. And that should be a dandy. More excitement for us. Troop gets it going. Boy, Guppy on a roll. He hit the pocket 11 of 12 times and strikes in the pocket 10 of 11. He was 5 for 5 on lane 51, 5 out of 7 on 52. Troop with that 260 game.
And he needed them all to beat Wayne Webb. What a great match, Jay, that was.
He's got 9 in a row right now.
Really the only bad break Guppy has had in 2 games. He could have struck with that ball. It was a little late, a little behind the head pin. And these players know when they release the ball just about what might happen. They can feel if it's a strike or not. They know by the feel of the release. And Guppy kind of felt that that might not strike. He thought he didn't get it right where he wanted it.
Got a tough break there, though.
He's a good spare shooter, cross lane. As I mentioned, all these players are good spare shooters.
Guppy got his nickname when he was anchor man for a champion junior league team in a league that was named after fishes, the Skins game. Action aplenty. From Desert Highlands this afternoon. They'll be playing for 10,000 on the first 6. And then it goes up and up and up.
A November to remember, Jay.
You got that right.
All right.
The 10-pin won't go.
Slightly high on the left lane with his first shot, a little light or a little behind the head pin on the right lane. Remember, the left lane hooks more, the right lane is a little slicker. He'll make the adjustments as he goes. Much in the style of a Pete Weber, the high back swing. Lots of knee bend, good extension, forward roll. He's trying to keep the ball on line, so he's rolling it end over end with no turn. Leaves the 10. He'll go cross lane. Wayne has had, Norm Duke has had problems with his corner pins this week as far as making the spares. Of all the players, he's the one that's had the most problem with the corner pins.
He was only 18 when he became the youngest PBA champion in history when he won the Cleveland Open years ago. His mom, the bowling center in Mount Pleasant, Texas. There she is. Nice to have her here today.
She looks as young as he does, Jay. Very pretty lady.
Martha Crooks. Duke strikes in the third.
All right, now he's using a lot of speed. He's trying to get the ball to roll end over end and delay the break. Get it down the lane so that it rolls gradually, doesn't break sharply. Hits the head pin light, it goes to the wall, kicks out the 4, the 5, and the 7. Big break for Norm Duke.
Our director, Bob Levy, and his talented crew bringing you the sights and sounds of this action from Columbus, Ohio today.
Big break for Guppy.
Oh, I should say.
He could have had the bucket. Could have had a very difficult spare in the 2-4-5. Pins toppled forward, leaving an easy spare. Cross lane. He goes after only the 4-pin.
Oh, we really had some good scoring the last couple of weeks on this fall tour.
And I'm amazed because the players have adjusted so well, Jay, to the changes. As we go through the hour and a half of the telecast, the lanes do change quite drastically. They've made the adjustments by the oil carries down. The players have changed their line, changed their release. It's just amazing to me that they adjust so well. And how much talent, how much concentration they have to make the adjustments and do it with confidence. That's the key, confidence in your ability.
Blasted him out of there. I was talking with Duke last night about winning from the top. Something that has been very tough for the players in recent weeks. And he said, well, that was their problem. It's not mine.
He's a confident young man.
Here we are. $27,000 to the champion.
Chance to take the lead right here.
And he leaves the 4-7.
Last time on that lane, he left the 10-pin. The ball was hit light in the pocket. Tried to make the adjustment, go a little more direct. Ball broke a little sharper than he wanted, left the 4-7.
As you look at Guppy, let's remind you at 1 o'clock next Saturday, our final stop. Fall Tour, the $150,000 Angle Touring Players Championship from Charlotte, North Carolina. I hope you'll be with us.
He's stuck at the approach. Remember, I mentioned earlier that the players have had a little problem with the approaches, been sticking all week long. It's just a characteristic of the center. He's stuck, still kept the ball on line. Now he wants the re-rack. Several times they've re-racked on lane 51. They see something down there. They don't like it. They want the pins put on spot. It may not even be off spot. It could be just the shadows. A lot of things. But the player's not ready to play. He wants that re-rack. He wants to feel comfortable that he can strike if he makes a good shot. And they've made some great ones today.
Trouble. Real trouble.
4-6-10. And as you mentioned earlier, Jay, the players have had trouble all week winning from, or I mean all year winning from the #1 position as we see Norm go to the foul line, loft the ball. He set it a little short. The ball breaks a little early, goes through the middle of the head pin. 4-6-10. Take two. But the reason they've had problems winning from the #1 position all year and in years past is that the lanes do change. As I told you about earlier, the lanes will change during the hour and a half of the telecast. And by the time the leader gets over there, they've changed over a period of an hour. The lanes could be drastically different, and it's difficult to make that adjustment and beat a player that's just completed a game on the same pair. He's lined up. He knows what the lanes have been doing. The leader doesn't have that opportunity. Guppy with a big opportunity to get a double and increase his lead to 24 pins. Doesn't feel comfortable. Let's start over.
Got the job done.
He didn't like it, Jay. He didn't like the release. He didn't like the ball reaction. but it looks like it might be Guppy's day. He got the good break. The 5-pin actually going into the 4, straight across for the double.
24-pin lead for Guppy Troop. Guppy going for his 7th PBA Tour title here this afternoon. Sports World coming up. Big boxing match live. Then the skins game. Right now, the game is on between Troop and Duke.
You can see the pressure reflected in both players' faces. They're bowling for the championship.
Oh, did he get a big break there?
Big break.
He was in deep trouble.
Could have been the 5-7. I think Guppy probably would have made the spare, but any spare like that is tough. He got the wall shot. The headpin goes to the wall, comes back off, kick back. Doesn't get the break that you normally get to carry the 5 and the 7, but he does get the 5. He's got to concentrate. Forget about the good break and make this spare. Don't get careless. Now we'll see if Mr. Duke can get lined up. Jay, he's struggled so far for the first 4 or 5 frames and really hasn't got lined up where he's comfortable. Hasn't got the ball to react quite the way he wants it to, and it's getting late in the match.
A strike for Duke in the 6th. Our uninterrupted coverage of the championship match. Duke trying to come back. Now Harry Golden again has been called for. Duke had a problem on this lane all day.
It's difficult to see unless you're a professional bowler and standing directly behind the approach area where you can look directly down the lane at the pins. But if they're just a little bit off, the players aren't real happy with that. And really, it doesn't really make that much difference in the pin reaction. It's really a matter of a psychological thing. You're just not comfortable. So you want them on spot. You just don't want the pins to be off and maybe cost you a championship, obviously.
A double for Duke.
And he's getting warmed up in more ways than one. He's starting to bounce around out there. These 2 players start striking. They might go into orbit, Jay.
The adrenaline is flowing.
Big break off the wall. Carry the 7-pin.
You can see the strain in that young man's face. This is his 2nd championship around appearance this year. 7th in the True Value Open in Cleveland. 11th in the Kessler Open, Dublin, California. Many of you remember he was Roy Ryan's partner when they finished 4th at San Antonio in the Touring Pro Doubles Classic.
He didn't think he was going to get those down.
Guppy likes to sneak up on him. He doesn't want him to think he's too confident. He's a very superstitious person. And he looks at the pins like, no, I didn't throw it that good, but you're going to fall down anyway. Watch him. Comes across. See, very casual. Yeah, I knew I'd do it. I did it well.
This is a very big Saturday afternoon for NBC Sports. Boxing is coming up, and then the skins game.
That's trouble. Got a big break.
Well, he did. He could have been faced with a split.
His reaction when he released the ball, you could tell he had not released it the way he wanted to. He got it down very early on the surface. When you get it down on the floor too soon, you get hooks early, and that's normally splits. Got a big break, left only the 7-pin.
Duke has really done very well for a man who's just been out here 3 years and is only 20 years old.
I'm always amazed at the young talent, how good they are, what great athletes they are, how well they improve, and how well they handle the tremendous pressure of a one-game match for a championship.
24-pin lead, and now Duke again asks for Harry Golden, our tournament director, to come forward.
Going into the 9th frame, the crucial 9th frame, Duke almost has to have this strike, and he knows it. Guppy Troop knows it. Everybody here knows it, and I'm sure everybody at home knows it. If he doesn't strike in the 9th, Guppy needs only to get a spare in the 9th and 10th to be the champion. Norm Duke must have this strike. Oh, my. What a bad break.
That pretty much seals his doom, I'm afraid.
Well, he's still in the hunt,
Yeah,
but he's got a tough spare, Jay.
He really
4
does.
9s. He's going to have to make this spare. No matter what happens, he must make this spare. Now, again, he lets the ball down early. See how quickly it hit the lane? It creates all that early friction. The ball breaks very sharply, cuts through. It actually had too much roll on the ball. It actually cut through these 3-pound, 7-ounce pins. He must make this spare. We'll try to slide the 4 into the 9. Get the left side of the 4-pin and slide it into the 9. It's a good shot. Great effort.
It is a good try. Duke is open in the 9th. And Troop is up by 37. And the young man from Texas has a possible 191. And Troop is really in the driver's seat. What an action-packed day. It started off with this outstanding performance by the PBA Tour players. And coming up, of course, our boxing match from Lake Tahoe and the Skins game from Desert Highlands.
Can't get careless here. He must keep the ball in play.
He wasn't careless there.
He sure wasn't. We've got a winner, Jay.
There he is. $27,000. The winner of the Budweiser Bowling Classic here in Columbus for Guppy. Boy, oh boy.
If Guppy survives the next shot, stays alive, he's going to be a winner, Jay. That's all
right.
he has to do.
I didn't mean to speak too soon.
Oh, I think he's going to win this one. I really do. I like his chances, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
What a tremendous performance by Guppy Troop.
Yes, sir. There he is, our champion. Guppy. A vision in red and blue. A winner here this afternoon in Columbus as this crowd applauds the performance. Back with more in a moment.
The power to hook. The power to hit. The AMF angle, with the power of its unique urethane formula. Winter Pro Tour's #1 winner, 3 years in a row. And now there are 3 angles. Black for average lanes. Gray for dry lanes. Gold to win on oily lanes. And for winning looks, angle shirts, shoes, and bags. Hooking power. Hitting power. The angle strikes again.
There's the winner, Guppy Troop, 236 to 181 over Norm Duke. Coming up, Sports World. Right now, for Earl Anthony, Jay Randolph. Join us next Saturday at 1 for more of the PBA